Everyone, my name is Fejiro and this is cozyfeji, and on the channel we cover a variety of things such as video essays, reviews, JRPGs, and all things cozy gaming. So today I wanted to share with you guys a few games and series that I want to get to in 2024. Now this video is heavily inspired from some of my friends here on YouTube, such as FemTrooper, Chicken Fillets here on YouTube, as well as Mandili Plays. I will link down their videos down below, you should definitely check them out. But today I want to share with you guys some of the games that I want to tackle this year. I'm looking at the games that I have here and I know it's very ambitious, but these are just give me ideas as well as to what I want to play. So if ever I'm stuck between games that I want to play, these games will help me. I can look at these games or look back at this video and be like, maybe this is a game that I should pick up if I'm kind of lost as to what I want to play. So yeah, I have a few franchises here. I have a few games that I've played a little bit of, maybe like a route here or two, or maybe a couple hours, and I just kind of like not necessarily dropped it, but kind of like things got in the way, such as other things in life. Other games that I have on this list are just a variety of games. That's also one of my gaming resolutions this year, is to diversify not only the genre but also just to diversify the consoles that I play, because I looked at my games that I played last year and I played heavily on my Switch, so I definitely want to focus on playing other games on different consoles. So without further ado, let's go on to my list. So first off, we're going to start off with the franchises that I want to tackle this year. I have some representatives for each of those games, but definitely going to continue with my Trails or Legends of Hero Trails series. I've started that last year with Trails in the Sky, and I finished the Trails in the Sky arc literally on the last day of 2023. I have a review on my channel that you guys should definitely check out of the Trails in the Sky arc, so that pretty much reviewed the Trails in the Sky first chapter, second chapter, and Trails in the Sky the third. All I will just say right now is I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to continue my journey with the Trails series. So of course I'm currently playing through Trails from 0, and so that means I want to continue the series. This is Trails to Azure, but just a representative of the games that I want to play in the series. I have them all in my collection. I know that Trails Through Daybreak is coming out this year, so I don't know if I'll be able to get through every single game till Trails Through Daybreak that I believe is supposed to come out this summer. I don't know if I'll get to them, but hey, I want to at least get through more into the series. And I also want to try to pace myself because I don't want to get into burnout. So right now, my plan for right now is I'm currently playing through Trails from 0, and then I'm probably going to take a break and then play Persona 3 Reload that's coming out in February, and then get back to Trails to Azure and then play Trails of Cold Steel 1, take a break, and then like take a break of a game, take a break, and then play 2 games, then take a break, and then play another 2 of the series. So that's how I want to go about marathoning the series without getting too burnt out, because that's the last thing I want to do, because I'm really enjoying what I'm playing so far, and the last thing I want to do is get burnt out from a series that I love. So that is a franchise I want to get to this year. Another franchise that I want to continue a marathon that I kind of took a pause on and kind of jumped all over the place is Final Fantasy. This is my copy of Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age. Now last year I played Final Fantasy 16, which was my first ever Final Fantasy game, and absolutely loved it. So I thought it would be a cool idea to play them backwards. So I started with 16, went to 15, didn't love it so much, then played 13, absolutely loved that game. And then I started a little bit of 12. I think I put in around like 2 hours, but then I kind of got bored and then I just stopped. And then I went back to other games, and then I decided, I should go back to my kind of marathon of or Final Fantasy. But then I wanted to play 7, the whole 7 games, because Rebirth is coming out in February. So I started playing a little bit of the OG, and then I was like, you know what? Realistically, because my goal was to play the OG 7 and then the 7 remake integrate in Crisis Core before Rebirth, but realistically I know that's not going to happen. So I think it's also better for me to just go back to my marathon. It'll also be good for my wallet, because that means I don't have to buy another game coming out in February, because February is a stacked month for us JRPG fans. So going back to this, and so I hope to play that soon this year. And I definitely will play more of the Final Fantasy games this year. And the last series or franchise that I want to tackle or play or start this year is none other than the Kingdom Hearts series. Now, I've had this collection or all-in-one package for a long time. I think I've had this since like 2021, so it's been a minute and it's just collecting dust there. Now, interesting thing about Kingdom Hearts, and this is kind of a common theme for me, is I tend to watch a lot of Let's Plays, even games that I've never played before. Because at the time when I watched a Let's Play of the entire franchise, I did not have a PS4 or PS5 at the time, so the idea of me playing this was just kind of like probably not going to happen. And then I got a PS4, so now I want to play this for my own for the first time. So I definitely want to play all of these games. What's really interesting about this all-in-one package is that it pretty much has every single game. I think 3 of them are like cutscenes or cinematic cutscenes. So if I really enjoy what I'm playing, I might go to the respective consoles that those games came out to and play them on its own. But I know that with Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts has a lot of different final mixes, so this is literally just an all-in place to play everything, which is really great. And what's really great about this edition is that it's pretty affordable. You can find this anywhere from 20 to 30 bucks in stores. I'm pretty sure you can probably still find this at Walmart or your local Walmart or Target, so excited to hopefully get into Kingdom Hearts this year. Now that's pretty much all of the franchises and series that I want to get into. Now we're going to move on to individual titles that I want to tackle this year. So first off, we're going to start off with some handhelds, and the first one that I want to play is actually a game that was recently added to my backlog, and that is Valkyrie Profile Lenneth. Now this is a game that I got originally from a PSP because last year I got a PSP to add to my collection, and I thought this would be fitting to have as a physical edition. Now I know this is available on the PSN store, and I was almost about to buy it on the PSN store. When I got my PSP, I decided, you know what, let's just get this. And I didn't know that this game and this copy is actually all fully voice acted, and I have really cool cinematic cutscenes in this. So I'm really excited to get into this and experience this game. And from the cover art alone, I know that I'm in for a very emotional journey. Sticking to our PlayStation handhelds, I have a PS Vita game that I want to play in my collection, and that is Dragon's Crown. Now this is a game that I've had for a while as well in my collection. I've actually played maybe like an hour or 2 of it, but never delved into it because it's definitely not a genre that I gravitate to. This is more of a side-scrolling beat 'em up kind of game, which I don't rarely ever play, but I think this would be fun to play in between the JRPGs that I'll be playing, because from the list alone I have a lot of JRPGs that I want to tackle this year, and this would be a nice game to play in between those. And it's from the developers Vanillaware, which are really a developer that I want to dive more into because I played 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim last year and absolutely love it. I know I have Odin Sphere that I should honestly be in this list as well, that I want to play as well, but I'm really excited to get into this because the art style is amazing and it would be a fun beat 'em up game to play in between long JRPGs. Now, sticking to the theme of handheld games, we have a DS title, and that is Radiant Historia. Now, this is a game that I've picked up because I wanted to know more about the JRPG scene on the DS, and I heard really great things about this title. And what's really cool about this one, it has some really cool time travel elements with alternate timelines happening, which I think is really cool. And I know that there is a 3DS port of this game, but I want to play the OG version of it because getting the physical for the 3DS version is really expensive. I've mentioned this game on my channel quite often. I think I mentioned this on my games I want to play in fall, and I didn't play it then, but hopefully this year, not hopefully, I will play it this year. So since I mentioned a DS title, I think it makes sense to talk about a 3DS title that I want to play this year, and that title is Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, or Valentia, however you want to say it. I know this is a remake of the 3rd entry of the series, and I've heard really great things about this one. I've played almost every single Fire Emblem title on the 3DS. I played Awakening, that was my first one, and I loved it. I played both of the Fates games, Birthright and Conquest. Those are kind of iffy, but I've heard really great things about this one, and I really want to get into it because lately I've been in a Fire Emblem mood. I've been really wanting to play Fire Emblem Three Houses, but I've played every single route of that game, so I don't need to. So I play a new title that I've not experienced. So definitely will probably be playing this relatively soon. Now we're going to move on to our hybrid console with the Switch, and I have a few titles that I want to tackle this year. Some of them are going to be a surprise. especially with this first one, being Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as well as Xenoblade Chronicles Torna the Golden Country. Now you're probably wondering, you've not played these titles? Now hear me out. With Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I've actually watched a Let's Play again, so I'm very familiar with the story, the lore, and the characters in this game, so I'm very familiar. So playing it won't be new to me, but playing it for the first time on my own will be. Torna the Golden Country is a different story because I have not played anything about it. I don't know the story or the premise, and I want to keep it that way, and I'm really proud of myself for closing my eyes and covering my ears because I have not heard anything about this. And as someone who's currently working on a Monolith Soft retrospective, I want to get more familiar with some of their titles because I've only played Definitive Edition or Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition 3 and then Futures Redeemed, but I've yet to play this title and also the past titles. But this is definitely going to be my top priority, probably after I play I know I want to play Persona 3 Reload soon, and then Trails to Azure. So probably after Trails to Azure, I might play these two like right back to back. So I'm excited to get into that and go back into my Xenoblade world and visit the world of All Rest. The next game that I'm going to mention is a game that I've had in my collection for a very long time. I've actually cracked the seal, so that's some progress, but I have not played it, and that is Neo: The World Ends With You. Now, I bought this, I think, relatively close to its release, because I saw a little bit of reviews and Let's Plays and thought, this seems interesting. And before I dived into it, I wanted to pick it up for myself, and I've not played it since. I know this is a sequel to The World Ends With You that came out on the DS, and I know that game is also ported on the Switch, but I've heard that the Switch port is not as great. It doesn't really carry or have the same essence as the DS port, so I hopefully want to get the DS version, eventually that game at some point. I know that might be a little expensive, but we'll see. But I definitely want to get into this one because I think the art style looks really cool and the premise seems really interesting. I know that this came out, a lot of people were kind of sad that the marketing wasn't really there for it, and it kind of went under the radar for a lot of people. So I definitely want to give this game some love. So the next two games are games that I played routes of, which means I played maybe 1 or 2 routes of it, but then never got back to it. Because when a game's with multiple routes, I tend to play one route at a time. That way I don't get myself burnt out with it. So the first one I have is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Now, I played this game when it released back in 2022, I would like to say. Yes, it was 2022. And I remember it's 2022 because this came out, I think, a month before Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And I wanted to, at least play one route before 3 because I knew that was going to be my main game. And I played the Golden Deer and played that relatively quickly and then went straight into Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So honestly, I don't really remember much of the premise or the major plots of this game, if I'm going to be so honest with you. But I definitely want to go back to it to explore the world of Holtland again and to see how the other 2 routes play out. I don't know if this one has a secret route or if the DLC route of Cinder Shadows is also a part of this game as well. Please let me know, because if so, then this is going to be a long time coming with this one. But I definitely need to finish this one. And the next game that I have is also a strategy RPG, and that is Triangle Strategy. I also played this when it launched back in March, I think, of 2022, and I absolutely loved what I played. I believe I played the Frederica's route and was left shook at the end of it. Was not expecting that ending at all, but I absolutely loved it. And I knew that I wanted to get back into it, but again, with so many titles that come out, you play it and then kind of put it on the back burner and kind of not forget it, but just let's be real, I kind of did forget about it with all the other titles that I was playing. And so this year I definitely want to tackle this again because I absolutely loved what I played. The art style is phenomenal, the storyline is great, and the combat is super addicting. So if I want to get back to some strategy games, I definitely want to get into this one. Now we're going to move on to some PS4 and PS5 titles. So the first one that I have is Stray. Now this is a game that I actually got, was one of the first titles that I got for my PS5. And funnily enough, this was not one of the first games that I played on my PS5 because, as you can tell, I still have the wrapping on it. But I definitely want to get into this because this, again, would be a great game to play in between the plenty JRPGs that I have in my backlog that I want to play. It's a pretty quick semi-platformer game that I can play, and it's a really cute cat that you get to play as in this really cool cyberpunk world setting. So I'm really excited to get into this, and I know that I will get into this game this year. Like, I will play this game this year. And the last PS4 game that I have that I definitely need to play is Scarlet Nexxus. Now, this is a game that I probably put in maybe 2 to 5 hours in, and I really was really intrigued. The combat and action combat is really cool and super addicting. What's really interesting about this one is that it has 2 dual protagonists. So we have the, like, you can't really tell, but we have 2 protagonists, or so technically 2 stories, although I've heard that those 2 stories aren't too drastically different. So I'm really concerned about how the replayability will be on this game. But what was really interesting about this game is that it came from Bandai Namco, and it came out in the same year that Tales of Arise came out. And which was interesting about those two is that they're both kind of action-based combat, but I believe that, and I'm pretty sure, and then we all aware that Tales of Arise was the more popular of the two. The story in this one isn't that great, but it's not like horrible or bad, but it's still intriguing enough to get you going. I think the main pull for this game is the combat itself, so I'm excited to get back into it because what I played I really enjoyed. I'm excited to get into this one. Now, the last 2 are kind of retro games. I don't like to call them retro because they're not that old, but if you consider the timeline, they are technically considered retro. But the first game that I have is Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube. Now, I'm aware that they have a ported version for modern consoles, but I got this before that port was existed, and I heard that the GameCube version is probably honestly the best version to play. I don't have a GameCube anymore, but we do have a backwards compatible Wii that I can play this on, so I'm excited to get into this because Tales is also a franchise and series that I want to get into at some point. And I've played Tales of Arise and absolutely loved that. So I have this game, and I do have Tales of Berseria and Tales of Abyss in my collection that I want to get to at some point. But this is definitely a title that I want to get to first because this is a lot of people's favorites. And I want to know if this is aged well because it's a GameCube game, came out quite a while ago. So we'll see how the story and world unfolds. So with this one. And the last game on my list of games that I definitely want to tackle this year is a game that I've mentioned quite often on this channel, and I'm honestly ashamed that I have not played it yet, and that is The Last Story on the Wii. I've mentioned this on plenty videos on this channel, but this year, this will be the year that I will play this game. Again, I've heard really great things about it, and it'd be really fun to finally play a Wii JRPG because I feel like the Wii is definitely a system that you don't think of when you think of JRPGs. So I really have to play this year. And with that, that is pretty much all of the games that I want to try to get to this year. Emphasis on the try. This is a very ambitious list, and I do have a whole shelf back there of other games that I have yet to play. But these are some, I guess, more top priority games that I want to play and tackle this year. So comment down below, what are some games that you want to tackle in your backlog that you have to play this year? If you guys enjoyed this video, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Bye!